Hi there, it's Nick Brandon from TechWork. I'm doing a video of an appointment we had, just telling you about it because it's quite an interesting one. We did this today. It's for a new customer. They're a small charity in East Sussex, and they basically offer all sorts of different community services to the local surrounding villages and towns. And they're made up of three entities, two parts to the charity and also the local church. And they have a lot of, although they're only small, there's only sort of three or four devices or computers, laptops that they use. They've got quite a few different users, about a dozen users that use the system, and it's all very separated. All of their data is stored on hard drives, and there's a hard drive in the office that nobody really knew what it was doing. And they've got a few bits and pieces on their devices that are okay, but they really need to upgrade all of their computers and laptops with docking stations. They want to have one or two of the users being able to work at home, and they need to move all of their data into a nice managed cloud storage system. So we're going to move everything into Microsoft 365 using SharePoint, and they'll have three different entities. So they'll have a folder architecture with all the data in for one entity, another one for another entity, and another one for the third entity, with all the different permissions that are available. Differing members of staff can have different permissions, and that's hopefully going to be a lot more efficient for them, because at the moment a lot of their stuff is paper based, and as I've said, their data is stored in all sorts of different places, so it's very difficult to work with, difficult to share information and so on. And we're also going to migrate some of their data that's stored on Google Drive, which they don't like. We're going to set up a proper email system through Microsoft 365, because at the moment they're using a Gmail address when they have a proper website domain that they'd like to have all of their emails using that domain as a suffix, so it all looks and works nice and smoothly. And yeah, we're going to also install a new internet connection for them, bearing in mind that they will be storing stuff and accessing it in the cloud. We did a broadband test, and unfortunately they're only getting 22 meg down and 4 meg up, but they can actually have 80 meg down and 20 meg up. So we're going to install a new single order broadband for them, which is going to be a lot faster, possibly put in a bit of Wi-Fi, give them a new router, because their router is old and not very business like. We're also going to sort out their telephony, because they've got three published telephone numbers for each of the different parts of their organisation, all working off of standard analog lines, which are going to be turned off in 2025, and they've got answer phones on them that they have to dial into and get messages for, and all sorts of things. So we're going to move that to a hosted VoIP system, so they can still have handsets in the office, because a lot of the volunteers are more elderly, so they don't want too complicated IT type systems to use. They still want to pick up phone calls with handsets and things, so that's fine. But we'll also give them some apps for some of the people to use on their smartphones. And we're going to go through some cyber security set up for them on their new system. I'm going to put forward to them potential of having Cyber Essentials accreditation, so everything's nice and protected against cyber threats. And I think that will be life changing for them, transformative really in the way they work. So I think it was worth sharing out. It's an interesting meeting. There was myself and Adam and three or four of their team in the meeting, explaining what they want to do. They're also going to be moving to a web-based or cloud-based CRM system, so they can be more efficient the way they deal with all of the different stuff they do for the community, which is quite varied actually. Once we were talking about it, it's although they're quite small, they're quite complex in the way that they work. So having these disparate, non-working, inefficient systems that they've got is really not the way forward. So they've decided that they need to grasp the nettle and use this as a bit of a sea change event to get themselves working really efficiently and improving their lives for everybody that works for the community, so they have a lot more time to do the good stuff that they want to do for the community, rather than having to meander through all of their different technical setups that they've got, which aren't no longer working for them. So yes, that's Nick Brandon from TechWork. I'll maybe do another video once the project's finished, and we'll share some of the outcomes. Thanks very much. Bye bye.